Good evening, guys, and welcome to Zero Filter Sports. I'm Jake Miller along with Tanner Carson, and tonight's guest is Byron Moore, former starting defensive back for the University of Tennessee. Byron is on the show tonight because recently settlement checks have been going out to players that were involved with the EA Sports and NCAA, case against players using their likeness. Now, we originally reported this back a couple months ago, but we didn't really go into much detail about it. We didn't really think much of it. But you can look at it from anybody's perspective and be like, oh, these guys are going to school for free, to catch a football or throw a football. But you look at it from the business perspective, big sports such as football and basketball, they're using these players and their abilities. Players, of course, are getting a free education, but the universities and these brands are selling their jerseys with their numbers on it. EA Sports made video games with their numbers, with their height, weight, everything was perfect to a T almost all the time. And Byron, tell us a little bit about just your experience with the deal and just your thoughts on the overall, just deal about the thing. Like, how would you feel? If Tennessee was selling a jersey with number 3 on it, but without your name, everyone knows that it's your jersey.
Yeah.
What's your thought process as far as that goes, man?
Yeah, when you first going through, you coming up, you playing a sport that you love, you grow up, dreaming to get to the NFL one day. So, you got to do whatever it takes. So, obviously the big step reaching that goal is playing college football. Where they try to, basically say, that you're still a student athlete. And I think really at first you're really just caught up in the moment where, you're just happy to be, on scholarship. You're getting to play in front of, some of the best fans in the nation, wherever your school may be. You've been flown all over the country to different states, where you may never have that chance if you wasn't playing football. So you're really just caught up in the moment. But I think it takes guys who stop playing, or a little older, mature guys, that once they really take a step back and see, man, I'm bringing in millions of dollars for this school, and you're not really seeing, you're basically not seeing any kind of return on that, money that you're bringing in. So it's a big argument in today's world where you got the side that say we're going to school for free, and then you got the players saying we should be compensated better than what we've been compensated. You look at we just went through March Madness, and I think just the March Madness tournament, not even the full college basketball season, just the tournament alone, I want to say they say they generated like $700 million. You're talking about just a couple of weeks, $700 million was generated alone in one sport. And you throw in on the figures that's probably similar to that in football, where they're selling our jerseys. Yeah, they don't got our name on there, but come on, everybody knows who's the number 8 on the team. Everybody knows, whose jersey that is. It doesn't. They're not just selling generic jerseys. Everybody's buying this jersey for a reason, to be the star player. The kids are wanting to wear their favorite player's jersey. These jerseys are going for $100, $200 a pop. All over the country in different sports stores, and you look at where we're at, our tuition, everything is paid for. A lot of people who have to pay their own way through school, they throw that basically in our face, but not really taking the step back and realizing what, we're probably putting in 80 hours a week alone just between football practice and meetings, going to school. We necessarily don't have that access as maybe somebody may be paying for their own college and wasn't necessarily blessed with a scholarship, but they have a little bit way more freedom to maybe they want to go internship, network, start building towards a career where my whole college career from sun up to sundown was always planned for me. I didn't have that extra couple hours a day where I can maybe, go to a business and internship with and get some, work life experience. My life was football practice, tutoring, class, back to football, sleep, wake up, do it all over again. So when you look at it as that aspect, I mean, you're a slave to the sport basically, and you're a slave to the school. Whereas on Saturdays, you're expected to perform no matter what you're doing in school, no matter what happened during the week, no matter what happened at home. On come Saturday game day, you're expected to perform and basically fill seats with fans, which are bringing in money for the school. So, I mean, the whole NCAA EA Sports lawsuit, I really didn't have too much involvement with it basically at all. I mean, all I really got was a letter in the mail basically saying, hey, I mean, I knew about it. We all knew about it. That Ed O'Brien was fighting it. We knew about what was going on, what was kind of the basis of the lawsuit. So, I mean, for somebody to stand up for that, I'm not going to sit back and say, hey, that's not right. I feel like, yeah, if that game, I think that game was selling, about $70 a pop. You figure millions of people are buying that game. I mean, you sit there and do the math, that's a lot of money. That's just off the video game. So even though we got this big settlement that they reached, I mean, that's still, like we was talking earlier, that's still basically chump change to them. We're still not really even getting nothing. I mean, we're going to sit there and take it. Nobody's going to turn away free money. But for people to sit there on Twitter last night and, basically calling us greed and saying how we ruined the game and took the game away from people, like, really, dude, like, it's a video game. Like, grow up. Like, we're the ones out there playing. We're the ones out here, risking our body. And they always say, well, you know what you signed up for. You didn't have to play that. Yeah, okay. But at the end of the day, if you go to any normal job, and your job at your workplace is to, better the business and help, make the business profitable, in which return you get a paycheck, whether it's every week, every 2 weeks, however you get paid. So for us to basically see that we're making basically the school millions of dollars, not getting anything from the profit, I mean, yeah, it's going to rub us wrong, and eventually, somebody's going to stand up, in which, I mean, that you see that what's happened in the case to get the whole thing started.
Right. And you mentioned putting your bodies on the line, and people, like you said, saying, oh, well, you know what you signed up for.
Yeah.
Tell that to somebody like Inky Johnson.
Yeah.
Someone who did risk it all. Someone who almost lost their life.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And will still, if he had a chance today, go do it all over again. So I mean, yeah, we understand that. We're not ignorant to the fact. Of course, we know that's like basically telling somebody that's in sales that's working on commissions. Well, you may have months where you may not make any money. Of course, that's common sense. That doesn't necessarily mean we shouldn't, we're not entitled to what we feel like we're entitled to.
Right. Tanner, what are your thoughts on the whole situation?
Well, I just want to give Byron this question. You mentioned how he had people giving him heat on Twitter for posting a picture of the summit check he got, and I go through the comments, and it's just, I don't, it's kind of like venomous what these people are saying. You ruined a game because of your greed. I see this word greedy, and I'm just thinking, these guys really don't understand what a student athlete goes through. Byron just did a perfect job illustrating the life of a student athlete, and you have people here just concerned over a video game. I'm thinking these people don't realize there's things a lot more important issues, just their video game. So I want Byron's thoughts on the fans calling him greedy and just that whole their viewpoint of that.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, man, I was just sitting over here basically laughing all night, just laughing at it. I mean, it really didn't even bother me. I was just looking at just how simple-minded they were. Like, probably most of these dudes was like over 30 years old, basically crying over a game. I had one dude tell me how he didn't know how he was going to explain it to his kid that he doesn't get to grow up with NCAA like that. If that's what you base your kid's life on. If that's what you base your kid's life on, I feel very sorry for that kid growing up. But I mean, it almost became just like a joke after a while. I was like, it's crazy. I know, like, and I'm all about, I'm not saying players need to be, out here getting like, 10, 15, $20,000 checks every month. I'm not saying that. But for the money that the or your biggest sports on campus anywhere is going to be football and basketball. So the money that they're generating, the argument is always, well, how are you going to make it paid evenly to all the other sports? When I tell you the money that they generate, if they wanted to, and which it all comes down to, they don't want to. If they sit down and do all the math, they can more than come up with a way to compensate the players a little better. And like I said, I'm not saying that each player needs 10, 15, $20,000. But I mean, like me for example, when I lived on campus at UT all 3 years, yeah, people always say, yeah, you get free tuition and all this stuff. Okay, yeah, my school is paid for, but I still got a life to live. I still got to eat. We get, during the season, it was pretty nice. You're eating in the hotels most of the time, but during the week, I mean, you get breakfast and lunch, or sometimes it's lunch and dinner. Usually it's like one or two meals. So the rest, you still got, 2 or 3 meals throughout the day you got to eat. Being a football player, you're gonna be hungry all the time. You got big boys on the team, so dudes are hungry. I mean, you talking about checks that are like $600, $800 a month, and if you live off campus, you got to factor in whatever your rent you're paying. Then, I mean, you got some kids, you got most kids on a football team, probably 80% that come from, low income homes just because of the nature of the sport. Kids in, small towns, back in them small backwoods that, all they know is football. So, by them getting a chance to play football, they're trying to do something to set their family up for success. So you had guys that was getting their scholarship checks each month and sending it back home to their family just to cover bills back at home. So, people look at us as, just a body in a football uniform, but I think they kind of forget that, we're human beings at the same time. We have life. I brought up the point that, we don't have the luxury of being able to go out to, have internships and network and try to better ourselves. Other students also have more opportunities to, have like little part-time jobs to create extra income for themselves. We're basically living off the check that we get because we have no other time to do anything to create extra income. We can't sell our jersey. We can't sell anything. We can't take money from nobody. We can't do nothing, without NCAA putting some kind of rule on it. So, I mean, they're literally, basically saying, you're going to do what we say. You're our slave, and you either do it or you can't play. So they put a lot of limitations on us that people don't realize, and all they think about is, well, your schooling is free. I mean, it's so much more than even for a normal person, a regular person, non-athlete. There's so much more in your college experience that you should be able to experience besides just worried about how it's going to be paid for. So that whole argument to me, I think, is just it'll never be able to come to a common ground because people just never want to see it, from the football players or whoever athlete, from their perspective, I believe.
And to add on to that, you mentioned how people think, your schooling's free, it's just such a simple thing. Well, it's not just that simple. Last year, comedian John Oliver, he has a show last week tonight. He did a whole segment on the NCAA, everything about, all this argument, brought up the Ed O'Bannon lawsuit. And he brought up how, there's been several instances, and Byron, I'm sure you probably know someone personally who might have went through something like this. Your scholarship's not always guaranteed, to just, you're going to keep it. If you get injured and you can't play, that's going to be taken from you. And so, there's players.
Yearly is renewed every year. You think somebody's signing a 4-year scholarship? You're really not. You're signing a 1 year, and it gets renewed every year based on how you're performing. They don't want to say that, but if you're not performing, you will be asked to leave, so they can free up that scholarship.
And I'm going to piggyback off something you said, Byron. You were talking about the side that people don't see, because I used to be a student athlete myself. And you're dedicating 90% of your time to that sport and to school.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, you can't really work a part-time job at that point.
No.
I ended up quitting a part-time job to free up time for, tennis and school.
Yep.
And you have these students at Knoxville who are on scholarship academically,
Yeah.
but they can go work a part-time job, go serve tables at Ruth's Chris. They make a lot of money.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Especially at Ruth's Chris.
Oh
They
yeah.
make a lot of money.
And like I said, they have that time where they can, somebody in a business major, they may be able to reach out to, businesses and get that experience. Go do internships, a couple hours a day throughout the week, where, like I said, from sun up to sundown was literally planned out for me every day. So it was no break time in between that. If I did have a break time, I was looking for the nearest couch or bed to take a nap on real quick.
Right. Hey guys, this is from a player's perspective. This is not from my perspective. This is not from Tanner's perspective. This is a former starting defensive back for the University of Tennessee, and he is just telling his side of the story. And honestly, put yourself in their shoes. Can you dedicate the 80 hours a week that it requires to go to class, go to study hall, to tutoring, to practice, and to travel? We didn't really mention travel that much. Because, you got to think, Byron, you travel, whether that be, down to Mississippi, Georgia, South Carolina, Kentucky.
Yep.
That takes up a lot of time, too. And if you have Friday classes,
Yep.
you got to miss class, then you got to make that up.
Yep. And trust me, they do not care about what's happening in that class. All they care about, you better be on time to that bus to make it to the airport.
Oh, yeah. But yeah, guys, that is from Byron's perspective.
And part of that, I always run into the people that they say, well, you signed up for this. Like I said, they always want to throw that in our face. You signed up for this, or you're gonna make it. You're gonna make your money in the NFL. You know how many people dream that they're gonna make it to the NFL that's not going to the NFL? It's only about 1% that's gonna go to the NFL. So you thinking just because somebody's on full scholarship and they complain about getting paid, you think that just because they had a potential to go to the NFL that they're going to the NFL? Half the people that's playing in college will never even make it to the NFL, and if they do, they may let the average career in the NFL is about 2 to 3 years. So, that's just like I said, it's just another ignorant argument to me. How if somebody only way that they can make it to college and afford college is by playing sports, then at the end of the day they gotta do what they have to do. Just because I want to go to college, and like I said, they say, well, you signed up for this. Why should you be paid? Well, this was the only way me personally, this was the only way I would have been able to go to college by getting a football scholarship. So yeah, I understand that, but at the same time, like I said at the beginning of the show, when you finally start stepping back and you get a little older and mature, wiser, and you start realizing the kind of cash that you bringing in, it's all in perspective. They say you're a student athlete. I forget who I was listening to the other day, but he shut that argument down so fast. He said, the NCAA always claims the student comes first, but in reality, all you gotta do is compare salaries from professors towards the coach's salary, and you see real quick who comes first.
Oh yeah, that's blatantly obvious, and people not realizing it. It's one of those things. It's like you can't argue about it unless you've done that.
Yep.
Unless you've been through that. That's just like people in the military, for example. People are like, oh well, you signed up for it, you put yourself through it, just so you can get your free education. So stop complaining about it. It's like if you've never been through that.
No. Yeah.
You've never had to go through the mental struggle or the physical struggle those guys have to go through, then you have no room to talk.
Yep. And that's like I said, I think that's really what it comes down to. It's totally two different arguments, and it's people that never went through it, and versus the ones that's really, then lived it, and the ones that have never been through it, I believe, they just, I don't think they will ever understand. All they really, thinking about is their student loan that they're going to have to pay back. That's, it's unfortunate, but at the same time, you can't, basically throw that at me or any other athlete for being God gifted, and was able to use their talent to, have their schooling paid for. You can't blame that on us.
Right. And with this whole student loan thing, it's like if you go to a private school that costs $58,000 a year, that's your own fault. I mean,
yeah.
That's what I'm saying. It's like
any other affordable options.
I mean, that's just like I went to MTSU. I'm transferring to UT. I'm not going to go to Sewanee or go to Tusculum, Carson Newman, where I know that I'm not going to be able to pay back those loans in a reasonable amount of time.
Yeah.
I mean, it is what it is. But moving on now, we got the Golden State Warriors going for win number 73, an NBA record that would topple the Chicago Bulls from 95-96. Tanner, Byron, what are your thoughts? Start with you, Tanner.
I'm thinking that what Golden State did this past weekend, win those back-to-back games on the road at Memphis and at San Antonio, it proved a lot of people wrong. Once they had that shocking loss against the Timberwolves at home, everyone said, there's no way they're going to survive this road trip. No way they're going to win at San Antonio, a place they haven't won at since Valentine's Day of 1997. And they proved again, when their back is absolutely up against the wall and when the most people doubt them, they proved time and time again that, hey, we're the best team in the league. We're one of the best teams of all time, regular season-wise so far. We're going to come out and we're going to take care of business. We're going to take care of business on offense, take care of business on defense. Steph Curry scored 37 points. That's an amazing game for a lot of people. Not the most amazing game for Steph, but put this in perspective, he's the first person to score more than 35 points against the Spurs this season so far. So I think, I don't think Memphis has really a good shot whatsoever. I'd give them like a less than 1% chance of pulling off an upset tomorrow night. So that's my thoughts on that.
I think they definitely, are not only are they breaking, on pace to set history, but I think Steph Curry personally is basically really changing the game right now. I think we're going from more of a down low, game in the NBA and basketball period to now everybody, wants to be a shooter. So I think he's definitely changing the game overall right now, and how the game is played. Like I said, it's kind of going from that physical down low presence to now, I think we're going to start seeing a whole lot more, shooters and offensive relying on having more shooters and not just down low, guys banging, just changing the game overall. But I think that win for them to prove that they can win in San Antonio was definitely big. And I mean, you'd be crazy not to say they're probably not the favorite to win it this year, but hey, anything can happen in basketball.
Yeah.
Well, I've got a question for both of you guys, actually. Now, not only is Golden State going for 73 wins tomorrow night, but also at the same time down the California coastline at the Staples Center, you have Kobe Bryant's last game, period. So there's been an interesting, question raised. What would you rather be in attendance for? Would you rather be in attendance to see Golden State get 73, or would you rather see the Black Mamba play for the final time? So what's your guys' thoughts on that?
That's hard.
Yeah. I don't know.
Well, to put it in perspective, the average ticket price for Kobe Bryant's final game is twice the average cost of Golden State's game against Memphis. So that tells you what people are willing to pay to see Kobe at least.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I guess it probably will be, I probably will say go ahead and see the Kobe's last game, since he, what is this? He's put in, 20 seasons, something like that? So
Close
to see, 20, so to see him go ahead and finish it out as one of the, the top players in the history of the sport, I think that'll probably be. I probably would go with that one. Going to see that one. I wouldn't be trying to pay that money though.
No, I agree. And my first jersey that I ever got as a kid was a Kobe Bryant jersey, and this one he still wore number 8 for all you youngsters that didn't know he wore number 8. It was like Kobe, he was that guy. You had Mike. And then you had AI coming in. You had Kobe. Yep. Those are the guys that we grew up with.
Yeah.
You just get used to seeing them. It's going to be so weird because, now we don't have AI.
Yeah.
Vince Carter, he's still doing his thing, whatever he's doing. But, we're losing Kobe.
Yeah.
All the guys that we grew up admiring, they're now gone.
Yep.
Now we're left with LeBron.
It's definitely going to be interesting to see who all wants to go to L.A. now. You know, that's always been the thing over the years. Nobody wants to go to L.A. to play with Kobe, so it's definitely.
There's a lot of talk that KD could be in play. You know, him getting into free agency. There's a lot of places you can go, but that'd be interesting to see if he goes there. You know, depending on how the toxic situation that we had the other week with D'Angelo Russell, Nick Young, how that turns out.
Yeah.
We'll see what they're.
Guys, we also do a segment called What If on Zero Filter Sports. We're going to do two tonight, actually. Because I'm pretty sure Kobe Bryant got drafted by the 76ers. Is that correct?
Hornets.
He got drafted by the Hornets.
Yeah.
What if the Hornets never traded Kobe Bryant?
Man, I don't know. I think he definitely. I think he probably. I put it like that. He probably would have been like the Melo. You know, Melo going to put up 40, 50 every night, but he ain't gonna never win it. He ain't gonna never win it. So I think it would have been one of them kind of situations. He would have still dominated, but I think the biggest factor in Kobe's career was when Phil had him, and they had, the Lakers had all them teams all those years going on that run. So I think he definitely wouldn't have had that kind of history if he stayed with Charlotte.
Oh yeah. But second, what if? Because gotta think about this too, Byron. This is going to relate to you again. Of course, Byron went through a coaching change when he was at UT between years of Derek Dooley and Butch Jones, and every redneck's dream in East Tennessee, Peyton Manning gonna come back coaching UT balls. And I'm gonna let everybody share their stories, because everybody's got a different story of something they have heard that has just absolutely blown their mind. Byron. Oh, and we also got the groomers too.
Yeah.
Whether Peyton Manning or John Gruden would have came to Tennessee when everybody wanted them to. So Byron, I want to go and let you talk, man.
Man, when you say heard it all, man, I heard it all from it was a done deal to they was just waiting to do the press release. I heard it from that he was 2 years ago he was supposed to be retiring then to come coach. I mean, it seemed like it was just never ending. I was like, when is people going to realize he's not coming here? I said, for one thing, no college player could ever even live up to his expectations. So it'll just be a heartache and headache for everybody on all sides. Nobody's going to prepare like Peyton and meet his expectations that he has, like he had on himself. And then Gruden, oh my God, don't let Gruden show up on Monday Night Football with an orange tie on or something, because then he was definitely coming if he had the orange tie on.
Oh, that was all over Twitter. That was all over Twitter. I remember that.
Oh man, but yeah, it's you gotta love it, man. You gotta love it. College football is definitely is no place like it as it is in the Southeastern Conference. I don't think nothing compares to it.
No, the Big Ten ain't got nothing on us.
Oh, no.
Tanner, what you got, man? I know you've heard some of the stuff.
Man, I remember those groomers like it was just yesterday. I remember late 2012, the every single message board. You always have the self-proclaimed insider. Who has the flight tracker. From wherever, hey, it's coming to Knoxville. He's bringing John Gruden his contracts, this, and that. And I'm like, yeah, sure. And, people were like, it's so close to being a done deal. And he's also bringing in, so-and-so for his defensive coordinator. He's going to run this type of offense. And then when nothing close to that even happened, they finally asked Gruden about it. He said, I haven't even been in contact with anyone. Nothing's happening. Everyone just got so crushed. And, I mean, you can't go a week without me hearing something about Peyton Manning coming back to coach, especially after he retired. People said, well, what's next for Peyton Manning? Do you think he's going to be the quarterback's coach? He's going to be the offensive coordinator? I'm like, he's going to be the head coach. Is they going to fire Butch? I'm like, no. It's like, guys, it's not that simple. It's not that simple. It's like, first of all, I don't think Peyton Manning, just myself, I don't think he wants to coach. I think he'd be more comfortable, either being an analyst, like CBS or something like that, or being a front office type of person. I could really see him owning the Titans eventually. That's what I see. I don't see him coaching whatsoever.
Yeah, I see him being like a Elway, like a GM or something for somebody.
Oh yeah.
And of course, this happened my senior year of high school. The whole Derek Dooley firing and the transition to Bush Jones. And of course, you had all the groomers going around. And I had a yearbook staff. And of course, nobody ever did anything in yearbook staff because everybody's already on the computer, always just looking up just random crap. I could not count how many times some idiot who thought he knew what he was talking about. Peyton Manning, he signed the contract. He's retiring and he's coming to coach. There was one point he got on my last nerve before one of the computers. And this is one of the old school monitors, like one of the big ones. And I was about to chug it at that kid. I got so mad at that guy because he would not let it go. For 45 straight minutes, I heard about all these contract details that did not exist.
Wow.
Oh, my God. But, Tanner, what was the name of the place that we went to in the old city the other night that had that garbage pizza?
Oh, Da Vinci's.
Da Vinci's.
Oh, yeah. Mention Byron that this is always like another part of the food review.
Yeah, I mentioned it to him earlier. But yeah, we went to this place called Da Vinci's in the old city. So we're sitting there waiting on our pizza, and one dude just holds up a piece of pizza. The entire crust on the bottom was black. Like, as black as my hair. I looked at Tanner and the other two people were with us. I'm like, guys, our pizza better not come out looking like this. But I mean, you talk about the most tasteless pizza. The only thing you could taste was the mozzarella cheese. That is the only thing that you could taste on that.
That's bad.
We need to pick Byron friend right here when we're on the topic of food. Byron, what is your favorite pizza place in the Knoxville area that you've experienced? What would be your number one?
I mean, to be honest, really, I usually just go with the normal chain. I hear is one that I've been trying to get down to. I want to say it's like in Oak Ridge or maybe Turkey Creek. Is it Big Eds or something like that?
Big Eds.
Oak Ridge.
That's what I want to try. I hear that's the one. That's the best.
All right, we're going to go sometime. That's what we're going to do. I love that place.
Let's do that.
Exactly.
Normally, I keep it simple, man. I'm either Domino's or Papa John's. So I haven't really, but I hear Big Ed's is the place, though.
All right, tell you what, we're going to take you one day. That's
all
what
right,
we're
cool.
going to do.
Yeah, there we go.
Right. Hey, guys, going back in this on a comical note, telling Byron about it earlier, you play on the PlayStation 2, NCAA 07 through 10, whatever you play. You go with the 98 Vols. And Jeff Hall is the only player that is screwed in this whole ordeal. Jeff Hall is white. As black. Therefore, Jeff Hall gets no money because his exact likeness is not used. And guys, we're going to end it on that. Have a good night, everybody. Thanks, and go damn Vols.